It's so nice to see everyone's beautiful, smiling faces. I know today feels like a new day, right? We get to come and see each other's smiles and enjoy company. It's going to be a great morning together. We have a few special guests, but before we get into announcements, I'm going to open us in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the sunshine outside. Thank you for allowing us to wake up this morning just feeling refreshed and like we get a new start. It almost feels like the first day of Mothers Together. Thank you for all of the women in this room and watching online. Please bless the time that we have together this morning. And we thank you for Kathy and Ryan who are here with us this morning. And we just thank you so much for this wonderful day that we get to share together. And in your name, we pray. Amen. Okay, so a few quick announcements. Table 7. Over here is the drop-in table today. Key fobs are in the back if you need to get into the nursery. And I'm going to skip number 3 because Kathy came and showed up right at the perfect opportunity to give that update. So number 4, no Mothers Together next week. Instead, we'll be having a play date at Osage from 9:30 to 11. There'll be more information about that in this coming Sunday's highlights. It was also in last week's highlights as well. But yeah, we won't be meeting here next week. Join us at Osage. And bring friends. You know, it's not just Mothers Together participants. If you know anyone, you have friends, you have neighbors with kids that want to attend, or their kids are in school and they still want to come and socialize, they are more than welcome to. And here's Kathy.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you this morning. Hey, I also want to just encourage you, next Friday, you'll have the play date on Wednesday, but on the Friday following, we're going to be doing a huge play day in the gym for all moms with little ones. And it's just like the Christmas one we did in here with all the bounce houses and tons of stuff for the littles. We invite you to come over to the gym that following Friday. We're going to do it both in February and in March, kind of the same day. I think that's the 27th or the 25th? 25th. So February 25th and March 25th, mark those 2 dates. And invite friends. It's a really great thing to invite friends with littles to come and be a part of it. I love it. It's great. It's mass chaos, but they have a blast. So just want to let you know that's coming up. It'll be especially great when it's a rainy day. That's always fun. Hey, I just want to give you an update as we've been following, as you know, the CDC guidelines and our county guidelines, and have been waiting patiently throughout this pandemic, and finally today is the day that we, as you know, we are not requiring masks for those who've been vaccinated. So I just want to be clear about that. We really, here at CPC, it's kind of an honor system. We're not, and we won't be checking vaccination cards and that kind of thing, but we're grateful just to get to see your faces today. I cannot wait for Sunday to see people's faces again, and we've been waiting a long time. All of the counties have lifted that except Santa Clara County. So just grateful for the virus. Unfortunately, we still hear lots of people who are getting it. So people who need to wear their mask for whatever reason, that still is happening, and grateful to be able to respect that and honor that. We're trying all that we can to stay united as we move forward, because we have people on all sides of the issue, as we know. And unity that God calls us to is not uniformity. Doesn't mean we all have to think alike, but we do work towards unity and loving and respecting each other. And so just want to thank you for your patience, and thank you for your observation of that as we follow those guidelines. If there's any questions at all, please let me know. I love getting to have coffee with you and just hang out with you, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me anytime, because that's one of my favorite things to do. and happy to do that. So that's it. And then Ryan is going to tell you about the men's retreat. Arr, arr, arr. Great weekend to get your husbands out of the house. So here we go.
Thanks. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. Hey, how many of you have wanted to get your husband out of the house for a weekend for the last 2 years? We're really excited. It's coming up on February 25th through 27th. So not this weekend, the following weekend. And we're going to have our men's retreat. And we weren't able to do it last year. It's been 2 full years. And look, we got a beautiful heathered green T-shirt that you'll love to see them in, that every guy gets to have. But I am personally really excited for this retreat because we're going back to Mount Hermon. If you've ever been there, it's an incredible place. And my hope and my prayer for all the men going, and hopefully some of your spouses going, is that they would experience God anew and afresh. I think a lot of us, the present company included, there's something special that happens when we're able to get away and be with the Lord. And we really haven't had a lot of those opportunities unless we've really made them for ourselves. And I'm just looking forward to the men of our church receiving that. They're going to experience that. My hope is that they would go and they would be transformed, that they'd really hear from God. We have an incredible speaker. His name's Pastor Andrew McCourt. He's from Bayside Church. He is fired up. He's dynamic. He's incredible. We're going to love him. It's going to be incredible. Shane Lapisi and our worship team, they're going up and leading, so it's going to be about as good of a worship experience as you're ever going to get. We're going to have these great groups where we get together with smaller groups of men. And just so you know, in men's fraternity, our men's ministry here, in the last couple of years, we've had to break up into more small groups. We only actually meet once a month. And it is an incredible opportunity for these guys to get connected. So men's retreat, sometimes maybe your husbands are a little bit afraid of who's going to be there or not making connections. We have incredible guys that are going to get them connected. And when they do get connected, they're going to get into these smaller groups and make these friendships, have fellowship, and be transformed by what God's going to do in their lives. So if you want to sign them up, you can. You go to cpcdanville.org/men. The signups are still live. We will accept guys. Guys always, every year, you may know this about your spouses, sometimes they just show up unannounced, and we'll take them. So even if you just say, go, head on to Mount Hermon, and you'll see what happens when you get there, that's great, too. We will accept anyone. We're excited. So if you have that, if your husband wants to go, sign him up. We'd love to see him. And, thanks for a little time.
Thank you, Ryan. And I know there are definitely husbands out there, mine included, who are well, I don't know anyone that's going. And he's gotten past that. He's met a lot of guys in men's fraternity. He is going. So here's my call out. If your husband is one of those ones that's I don't know anyone who's going, hit me up, and we will introduce them, and they will know someone. So my husband's going to kill me if he sees this. But and he's got room in his car. It's going to be awesome. I was telling him yesterday that I should have a women's retreat. When they all go to men's retreat, we'll get the kids together, we'll hang out by the pool, we'll have our own little mom's retreat. So that is also an open invitation. So, all right, well, without further ado, I'm going to bring Karen up here, who will introduce Nancy, and we're excited for what they have in store for us.
You know what, I have a mic. Oh, yeah. Hey, good morning. So I'm back again. So we have something very special. So it's so good to see you guys. It's good to see everybody online. But today we have a treat. So who of you have been stuck in the 4 walls of your house during COVID and looking at everything that has to get done, and maybe it's not the way you want? Has anybody here ever felt discouraged by their house? Kind of bummed out? Yeah. Overwhelmed by all of the things. Have you ever gone to the paint store and looked at the 5 million colors and thought, oh, there's no way? Well, all of those things were coming together today. So I have a friend of mine who's going to come up, and she's going to help us have some very tangible ways to decorate our homes, to make it feel more loving. But I just want to point out one thing that I've learned over the years, and it's all of us have the opportunity to be content in our house. You don't need to get new things. You don't need to buy new pillows, because it starts with our heart. And so I just want to point out that whether you own or whether you rent, or if you're living with your mom and dad temporarily, Wherever you are, God knows that. And he's given you your house to enjoy. Now, hopefully you're not doing what I did when I was in your stage. I was too embarrassed by my housekeeping and by some of our shabby furniture to have people over. God wants us to use our houses. He says in his word, if you Google home and scripture, there's scripture about us loving our houses, building our house with wisdom. And so today we're going to learn how to be content with our house through gratitude, but also through some tangible things. So I'm going to bring my friend Nancy Young up, who owns a company called Enhance Your Home Design Services. And Nancy, we've known each other how long? 13 years. So Nancy and I are literal neighbors, or we were up until a couple of months ago. And I just want to tell you how I met, because it's such a classic story. So Bill and I were on a move, and I was super bummed. We did not want to make this move. And so I came up without my kids because we hadn't told them yet. We were ripping them from their life and bringing them to Northern California. And I'm driving around the west side, and I see a lemonade stand. And this darling mom is out there with her 2 little girls. And so I pop out to buy lemonade and just, is there a school nearby? How's the neighborhood and everything? Well, we hit it off within like 5 seconds. Yeah. I think I was an hour at your lemonade stand. And
after I wondered who the lady was in the minivan across the street watching us.
Because I was kind of parked and looking. And she felt so strongly about bringing me to the neighborhood that she made her son get on his bike and drive his bike down to a house for the sales brochure, and we bought the house. So we ended up being like 2 door down neighbors.
It's
and
for
so
sales. It's for sales
everything we're going to share today, I've personally experienced with Nancy. So she's really helped me pull my house together, and I've seen her do this with other people. And so one of the things that Nancy taught me is creating a home starts with intentionality and work. So you just don't wake up one day with a beautiful house. And so I want you first, just to start out, tell us a little about you, why you named your company Enhance Your Home. Yeah, fill us in.
We thank you for having me, first of all. It's very fun, and I'm a little jealous of you guys all having the little babies, because we're now empty nesters for the first time. So you can also call me on there if you need a break, and I'll come and hold your babies or whatever.
And she will.
I will. My kids think I'm creepy about that. But I will gladly do that. So we moved to Danville and bought an absolute dump, I will say that. And I was 9 months pregnant, basically ready to have my middle child. And the agent said, no, you can't have this house. And we said, yeah, we want this house. And it was awful. I knew people that had seen it, and they came out and they were crying. They're like, oh my God, that's the only thing within our price point. It's awful. I'm like, yeah, we just bought that awful house. So we bought it, we fixed it up, really made it what we want, and we love it. And so many people are drawn to leave California, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't want to leave the house. So, and Danville, of course, but it's home to us. And so having a home that's comfortable, bypass the mess, whatever, just have a home, have people over. And that's really what I felt in my heart. So I've always loved the home atmosphere. I've always rearranged my room as a kid. So I decided, okay, I might as well get into staging and design and do something. So when I was thinking of names, I decided on Enhance Your Home, because I feel like the definition of enhance is to improve or increase in value, quality, desirability, and attractiveness. That's the definition. Well, it doesn't say go out and buy new things. It just says improve what you have. And I really think that's important. Work on what you have in front of you, what you have with you within your walls, and make it wonderful for you. So for Enhance Your Home, I do staging. I also, which y'all know, staging is getting a house ready in an unrealistic way to put on the market. So you don't live in it. People go, oh my God, this house is beautiful. Yeah, you wouldn't live like this. So believe me. So I do that. And then I also do redesign, which is the realistic side of it, coming into people's home or helping people move into new homes and make what they have work within their environment. Look at, okay, maybe not all pieces work, but most pieces we can make work. Even your husband's grandmother's hutch that you're like, oh my God, can we get rid of this? No. I've learned there's ways to make that work too. God bless the grandmothers, but and thank you for handing them on to us, but sometimes we don't really want them in our houses. And then, so redesign and style is just that, taking what you have and working with it. And then styling, is kind of an interesting phrase in that it's just basically like I do front doors around the holidays. I do get ready for birthday parties, things like that. So that's what stage redesign and styling enhance your home does. That's me.
Yep. And it's so fun to see everything she does. So Nancy is lucky. She has lived in pretty much one house. Bill and I have lived in 12 houses in that same time frame, just moving around with his job and all that. And as I was saying before, sometimes I just was embarrassed to have people in because my house was too shabby or I didn't like it. Do you see that with some of your clients? Like, is that sometimes why they bring you in to like buy, kind of jump over that, like, I don't know how to fix my house? Or do you see them like they're waiting till someday to use their house?
Yes, especially with the littles. You don't have time. And you're like, I'm not going to have someone come into my house when I have all these little tykes things in my living room or my dining room. It's like I have a plastic playhouse, a kitchen in my living area. It doesn't matter. Your friends that you're going to have over, whether it's amongst you or whether they're older friends or they don't have friends, don't have kids yet, don't have kids yet, and come into your house and go. I remember before we had a friend that came into our house and they were like, okay, we are never having plastic things in our yard or in our kitchen, our living room. I'm like, just you wait. They did. A couple of years, they had their first kid after a couple of years. So don't wait for that. Enjoy it. Make your house your home. Sorry, we get off script sometimes.
Oh, I know.
So we kind of ramble, Karen and I.
Practicing for this, we moved from doing this to like planning my daughter's bridal shower,
Yeah.
and then we'd be back. And
So, don't wait for that time, because what you see on Instagram, what you see on social media, that is not real. So I don't know if they have that.
We have
I
a great
thought
video.
this was very funny. You guys can take a look at this.
Hey, Kyle, okay, will you do it? Perfect.
Oh, there's no volume.
Oh, there's no sound.
There's no sound.
But you guys can read.
But there's a cute little jingle to it, and it's like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the internet isn't real. And then it's the reality of that's, so it can look all cute and pretty, and like when we stage a home, and then the reality of it is, after the pictures have been taken, sometimes, it's a mess. So that's the reality of it, is that live in it, live in your house, enjoy it.
And I think the goal, like for us today, and we didn't really articulate this, is we want to get you somewhere between those two. Like, you're always going to have your daily mess, but there's creative ways that you can feel better about your house and not feel discouraged or overwhelmed. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today is that. And then also, I want to like put that plug in of just seeking gratitude. And so, does anybody have a shortcut to seeking gratitude or seeking contentment with your house? It's being grateful. And the way to be grateful is like being really present, like looking at what you have and paying attention to the fact that there's so many women in this world that don't even have. Like, if you're in something that you consider so temporary or so not what you want, it's so much better than what a lot of people have. So it's like being grateful, even if your table doesn't look like this. Like, find something that you can thank God for. So what do you say? Should we dive in?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to start quizzing Nancy here, and you guys are going to get to hear all of her knowledge. So, in your opinion, what should be the goal of decorating our houses?
I would say to make it functional, beautiful, to what you think is going to make you feel good. So, a functional beauty, whereas, like I said, the little tykes, the little kitchen in your living room, enjoy it, embrace it. That's beautiful. That's the part of your life that's like, oh my God, this is great. I love having that my kids live in my house and play in my house. So I would say that, and then stay within your means. Don't think that you have to go out and get a lot of expensive stuff. Don't look at Pottery Barn and go, I have to go to Pottery Barn and buy everything. Because quite honestly, and if you're in that situation, let me know, because there's a lot of Pottery Barn-esque things out there that you can get for a lot less money. So, and I love that too. I'm kind of
It's like part of the hunt.
It's part of the hunt. And I am a little bit cheap when it comes to that. And I think that's great. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think that's the goal, is to make it, my goal for what I want you guys to have for today is to just know that be grateful in your house, even if it's messy. And if we can find some things today that you can do, that you can bring some peace and gratefulness into your home, that's what I hope you leave here with.
That's awesome. And Nancy found this amazing song. So on the back of the little yellow sheet are the lyrics. We couldn't figure out a place to play the song, but she has I love your connection with that. So just tell us.
So it's a song called By the Highwomen, which is a group of country artists. And I've heard the song before, but I was at the concert with my daughter, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, this is you. I'm like, oh." So it's very touching. And the song, one of my favorite songs is I Want a Crowded Table with Room by the Fire for Everyone. And that's kind of the line through it. And it's a song written about building up women. These women wrote it for building up women, but I really think it's about for building up anybody. And in my home, I want any kid that needs a place to come to my house. I want anyone that needs to crash, needs to get away, whatever. The house is there. We have a fire pit, ironically, in the backyard that we always gather around a lot. So this was just it touched me. Listen to the song and just think about it. Just think, have an open door policy and don't worry about, okay, my laundry's on the couch. Let me just pick it up and move it and come sit down. Yeah. Don't say, oh, you can't come in right now, the laundry's on the couch.
Yeah, I love that. And it kind of speaks to having an intention for your house, right? It's you may have a perfect house someday, but then people come and then they're like, oh, I could never have her over because her house is perfect. And so my joke when we have people over is I guarantee that the toilet will be clean and I'll clear the counters, but there may be little hairballs, and the funny thing is nobody notices because they notice gosh, how many times have we crashed into each other's houses where it's just piles, but our intention is always, no matter what, to have an open door. And so maybe you'll find something in these lyrics to help you set an intention. Okay, so now we're gonna get into some nitty gritty. So when you meet with a client, can you walk us through your process?
Yep. I meet with clients at all different extremes of price range of what their budgets are, where they are in their life, whether they're downsizing, upsizing, new homes, bachelor pads. I've met with all different clients, so nothing surprises me at all, actually, from what I see. But I always want to talk to them about what do you love about where you are or where you're going to. The view, the windows, the light. Maybe you don't love anything about it, and you're like, I hate everything about it. And we'll say, okay, what can we draw out? What can we enhance that will make you be happy here? What's not working in your space? Maybe having the little tyke stuff in your living room is not working out for you. So let's build a niche somewhere else, make a space that does work. So I ask people, what do they love? What is working? What do they want to accomplish? Do they want to have an adult sanctuary area where they can have just their friends come in and have adult time and put the kids in a different room? Do you want to have your bedroom be your oasis where you can escape to things? Do you want to make your kids' room, your playroom more organized? So what do you want to accomplish? What's your budget? What things can go? What things have to stay?
Grandma's hutch.
Like the hutch. The bachelor pad couch can go. Things like that. What can stay, what can go. I think it's really important, and I pride myself kind of on looking at what you have and making it work. Even if it might not be the most beautiful or the perfect thing in that space, make it work. What will bring the most bang for the buck? Do you have the money? Are you going to tear down a wall and expand your living area? Do you just want to redo your bathroom? Paint, is that going to change your area, which is fairly inexpensive to do? Or do you need to get all new cabinets, new fixtures, things like that? One easy fix is changing hardware in your kitchen. Little things like that can really update styles. So what is going to bring the most bang for your buck? And then I usually walk the house. Like I said, I walk the house, shop, see what furniture can move. Maybe you have a table in this room. It's like, well, that would be a really good table over in this room. And sometimes, no, you don't think about it after it's been in that space for so long, but it takes someone else to come in and shop your house and rearrange things, move pictures, move things around. Even just cluster things in a certain way, and you're like, oh my God, that makes a big difference. And it happens in my house too, where sometimes I just need someone else to come in and say, move this, do this. I'm like, oh yeah, because I've looked at the walls for so long. So that's, have someone fresh eyes.
So maybe
come
when
in.
the guys are off at men's retreat,
Yeah,
a couple of
exactly.
you guys on your small groups can get together. And
this is perfect with you gals here, because if you can go to each other's houses, you're like, oh yeah, remember we talked about this, and let's
Yeah.
shop it. And the other thing about shopping your house and moving things around, it's not permanent. You can move it back to that other room if you want to.
yeah, so it's fun. And we're actually going to share some like real-time tips in just a sec. So we're going to show some slides of rooms. Because Nancy, as she said, she gets to see houses in all different stages. And so she kind of picked out, I tried to get her to like hone in on a few common, I hate to say mistakes, but I mean, they're in my house too, of things that, she could go in and without even having you buy anything, you can change up a few things. So how about we jump in?
Yep.
And I think we're just going to follow the pictures. Okay.
So furniture placement, can you all see? Oh, I guess you have your other cameras too. Furniture placement. Having a rug the right size in your room is really important, and you can go online and look at, because that'd be a whole other discussion on what sizes are correct. But having your furniture moved back, not bad, and most people do that, but by moving your furniture forward and anchoring it onto the rug is going to bring your room in. It's going to make it more cozy. It feels connected, cohesive. So that was just a really simple switch right there, just moving your furniture. So if you have, and then the next thing is moving your furniture, like something away from the wall. You don't need to have everything out to walls and then far away from the table, because it would look funny if we had that up there and our chairs were back here. Bring it together and bring your sofa a few inches out from the wall. We call it leaving the space for the furniture to breathe around it and for energy to flow. So you don't necessarily have to have a table behind your couch, behind your wall, next to your wall. Just pull it out a little bit, and it really brings the room together, whether you have an area rug or not.
Okay, so I'm laughing, the last picture. So we did this in my house because of the bajillion pictures that Nancy has, and she has a bajillion. We could not find a single picture of, the room where the sofas are all touching the walls, because you want to maximize the space in your house, and maybe it's a too small area rug. So we tried to fix it. Okay, but look at the mess in my house. And then, look at my counter. I'm, trying to hide and looking.
There's my coffee
There's,
cup.
a dead plant. There's all the stuff for my daughter's shower. So, clearly, I don't not have people. And then this is, the internet shot where you're just looking at that, oh, her house is so clean. All right, so then.
This is moving the bed from under the window, which you think, okay, there's not a headboard, so having the bed under the window would look really pretty. In this particular room, by moving the bed, you can see where the chandelier is in there, light fixture. We moved it against the wall. It actually made the room had a lot more space around the bed to actually move. And the two nightstands are on one side of the bed. Here they were where they should be on each side of the bed. Yeah. So that was just a really simple move the bed. And we don't have a headboard on this bed. They didn't have a headboard. So by putting a piece of art or something, be careful in California, what you hang above your bed. It might fall on you in the middle of the night. But having something that above the bed and a couple of Euro pillows to define make a backboard.
Yeah. And it's you don't have to have fancy furniture. It looks like those are IKEA,
No, they were
little IKEA tables and.
This was someone's home that we were working on some redesign with. And those are just, actually those are IKEA pillowcase covers on the bed. And I'm going to digress for a minute because I forgot it. But the pillowcases and pillows are a wonderful,
super cheap,
a big bang for your buck. And even IKEA, Amazon have wonderful
pillow inserts.
Inserts, but also the covers. Yeah. So you can buy, a new cover and change your pillow out seasonally. And it's just the cover. And then you don't have to store another pillow someplace.
Yeah. In fact, I was showing her the inside of one of my pillows trying to see where I bought it from. And I found two other pillows, it was a pillowcase and a pillowcase and a pillowcase. So for the season, I just peel off, from spring or whatever. That was a trick you taught me because, you get to the end of winter and you're like, oh, where are those spring pillowcase covers? And so I just keep them all
Slide
on the pillow.
them all on.
All right. And we got to move. Oh, we're doing good. Our time.
Grouping items in groups of threes. this picture is a picture of what she has there was on just her wall behind the table. And what we did is it was one small picture for a big wall. Well, we added all these, just a few little different pieces that I think we picked up at Hobby Lobby and some other, inexpensive, and just kind of completed the look of the wall. Yeah. And it really filled in behind her long table, where she lives the gather song, by having everyone, she wants to have her gather there.
I love that.
And then actually her living room, they changed and they did this 12-seater. It's a huge table. So they're very into having the family. But this is a really fun way to make that wall a little bit more interesting. Now the groups of 3, there's a thing in design called the power of 3, and it just makes anything in a group of 3 or an odd number, makes it more appealing and memorable and interesting to your eyes. So here on the table, I have just a little bead thing, a plant, and then this is actually a piece of driftwood that I found on the beach. And then a book. Now you might say, well, that's 4 things. Well, it is 4 things, but you want to have 3 footprints. So this is one footprint, this is one footprint, and this is another footprint. So you can stack books, you can stack different things, but just having it in 3s. So that's kind of that. Same thing back here. There's 3 footprints here. But there's also things that are stacked. So it's just, if you want to have a footprint of 3s.
And I love this because I think doing shelves and mantles are like the hardest things. And so...
so this was a built-in shelf that we couldn't get rid of. So it was just simple groupings. The top, there are 3 books. It's more of an anchor. 3 shelves, or 3 little items, 3 of the same thing on that, and then the bottom shelf has the 3 different pieces. And even in those baskets, you can hide things. That's a good place to hide your keys, the dog's leashes, the kid, hopefully never masks again. Hopefully we're done having masks near someplace or when we leave. But, make storage that is both functional and beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, and tell them your book trick.
Oh, yeah, the book trick. Okay, so the book trick is, books are a wonderful way to add height and interest. And so you can either, if you want all black, you take the dust covers off, and then you have just some black interest there. Or you can turn it around, and then you really just have the brown pages. And you can also wrap your books in brown paper and tie a ribbon around them, or yarn or something like a rope, and that adds a lot of interest. And you can get books like this at most thrift stores. Even the Danville Library, I think, gives away books. Look, people have things they just want to get rid of, and you want to put them on your shelf to add some height. So that's a good little thing to add there. This was a camera. This is a camera, obviously, that my daughter got somewhere at a thrift store. And it's really not anything special, but it just adds a little bit of interest if you group it with 3.
Sweet. All right. Oh, so does anybody have these funky TV nooks in their place? So I don't know if you guys do.
Back in the day, we used to have TVs that had these long tubes in the back. Now you guys don't even know that anymore. But so a lot of this place they had taken the TV out of the spot down there that was supposed to hold it and hung it up on the wall for a plasma TV screen, a flat screen. So what we did is we put a picture up to cover up the TV rack, and then in the lower space, use that space for something. And so in these baskets, this was a staged home, but you could do this in your own home too. Just take a basket with blankets in it. The 3 stacked box baskets actually have lids on them. You could do those and put different items. Put your kids' toys in them, your knitting, your scrapbooking, anything you want to hide, but also have access to. Take that out, let the kids play, tell them to throw all their stuff back into it, and put it back in there.
That's awesome. And okay, so this is for real life and total transparency.
Mine.
This is
my mudroom.
This is what I walked past for how many years?
A long time.
Yeah, because
this was our temporary fix when we moved in and remodeled the second remodel when we
Okay, I
added
just
addition.
noted, oh, those are masks. I thought
Those
they
are
were, I
masks.
thought
No,
it was
those are
underwear
masks.
hanging up.
Those are masks. Yes, thank you.
Everything was so small on my computer when I was like,
Yeah. Clarification. And this probably was the worst because this was in the height of the pandemic when we had everyone home, so it was a disaster. And I was done with it. I'm like, this is our project. So we rearranged, we cleaned up, but we did put the shiplap on the walls, which it was fairly easy to do. But if you don't want to even go to that extent, paint the walls white. Just paint them. I mean, my husband was totally over the red anyhow. When I did the red back, when it was in. But putting a butcher block, that was a butcher block my contractor got for the counter, some they pre-built cabinets. There are now hooks on this side, and that little space in there has a little laundry basket.
but I love that there's like a place for everything. Like,
Yes.
you know, if you're going to do a reno or even like a lot of this could be DIY. Like this, of course, is a very nice elevation, but, you know, thinking like, okay, where can I stash things?
Yes.
You know.
So we now currently we have baskets in there that have all the masks and and I can't wait to throw it all away. Hopefully soon. This is the front door, like I said, I do the
See a
styling.
picture of you taking a picture of it.
This is me this is also my front door. But so nothing wrong with it. It seemed fine to me, but I just wanted to change it up. So I added the rug underneath and the pillows on the bench. I change out the plants in the basket. The holidays, I put a little Christmas tree. With the pillows, I always have different color pillows that I can put a slip cover on and put on there.
So you don't have to break the bank like this.
No.
And it like goes quick.
And it goes
then
really
you can
quickly.
change it seasonally really easily.
Correct. Changing it seasonally. And I really, even when staging or on design, I really think it's important to focus on your front door and look at how is it going to look when someone comes to my house. Because even if it's just plain, if it's clean, there's some plants on it, a little welcome mat and a rug, it's kind of nice and it sets the tone for what the inside of the house, what you want to come in. You want to make it welcoming.
All right, and I think we're going to talk. Let me just see what the next one is. Okay, so these are some of the design trends, the hot takes for 2022, and so these are just, and we really talked about a lot of them already.
Yes. Reclaim natural materials. Find some wood at the beach or in the wherever. Baskets, adding texture to walls, and I even have some round mat baskets.
They're like chargers?
They're
Oh,
like
no.
chargers
Yeah.
that I bought at, I think it was Big Lots or something, and they were like $1 each, and I use them quite often in staging to add some dimensions to the walls. And you just put them in with a pin, a little stick pin, very easy. So look for items outside of what they're advertised to be.
Love that.
The accent wall is back in, and this is just, you could
This
just
is like
paint
a
a wall
magazine.
to make an accent wall. This wall, they actually put, it was like a 2x1 board in a pattern. That could be something that if your husband, if he can cut pieces of wood and you can measure, you guys can do it. Nail them in, paint the wall green, and bam, you have it really makes a statement.
And where would you use an accent wall? Because usually it's like really dark colors, like powder room,
Yes.
bedroom.
I would use it maybe in this room, if you have a small entry room like this, like a little gathering area on a wall to add dimension, to give the depth. I'd put it behind a bed as like a headboard. I've seen a lot of them, we've done a lot of them recently on fireplaces where the TV's above the fireplace because it kind of hides the TV. So you do a black or a darker color and the TV's up there and it really makes it a nice hidden. And again, this is paint.
Yeah.
So if in a couple of years you're like, I'm tired of that,
Right.
paint it.
You could be like
Yep.
Danville Chocolate and change. Have you guys ever been in there? They literally change their accent wall seasonally.
Oh, do they?
So yeah, so like it was so fun. I would drive by Danville Chocolate and it's red or pink right now for Valentine's Day and they're painting it. It'll be green for St. Patrick's Day. So it's kind of fun if you're ever downtown Danville. She changes her wall. I was just talking to her.
Sherwin-Williams often has great sales, so.
Yeah.
And this is just another gathering groups of threes, bringing in the element of black. Black's
hot this year, huh?
Black is
Or
hot this
hot
year as
again.
accent colors. It makes it ground all the other colors, and you can either, whether it's a dark color, it adds adds impact, and if you have light color, it adds impact. So it's a good neutral grounding color. the green and bringing in nature elements is really big this year too.
Tell them about your plant tip.
Oh yeah, okay, so
she's got a
plants.
hot tip.
Plants. This is a peace lily.
We had to look it up.
Yeah.
So I was in charge of remembering the name.
I don't do well with plants. I kill plants. I usually have fake ones. So this is a peace lily. I bought this a couple years ago, and I brought another one a couple years ago. I can go away on vacation. I come back, it's totally like, oh my God, I killed the plant again. You water it a little bit, and poof, it rises back up. So if you want a plant that you can keep in your house that you will not kill, no matter how long you try to kill it.
And it has pretty white flowers.
They have pretty white flowers. Karen was saying you can separate them and put them in new pots. And I'm like, that's way beyond my pay grade.
I did give mine away.
But
too lush.
so this, like I said, I think I got this either at Home Depot or Trader Joe's. It brings in the natural element, the green. Plants are also very good for your home environment. It helps you circulate your air. You can research which plants you should have in which rooms, which plants are toxic and stuff. So bring in something real. If you can't, and I have a couple of fiddle leaf figs in my house that are fake. So you can mix them both, and it's okay.
Yeah, as we do here.
The tables look great. I love them. Like, oh my gosh, this is perfect.
Yeah. Okay, and the same thing.
Threes, woods, black, all brought there together. A tray or not a tray, it depends on how you want to gather things on your table.
And sometimes, like, if you, like, when my kids were little, I had, not that, but I had something like that. And if somebody was coming over, I would just sweep everything into a laundry basket. Whoop, the tray came out. And I always felt, more polished when I wasn't feeling shame and not having people over all those years. Okay, and so we want to make sure, good, because we want to do a couple of Q&A.
Yes.
But one of the things that I'm so happy we're able to share with you is Nancy's go-to paint colors. So remember I was saying you go to Home Depot or Sherwin-Williams or Kelly Moore and there's 5 bajillion colors. How do you know which white will look good? Which gray looks good? So I asked Nancy for free if she would give us her go-to paint colors.
And I've learned a lot about paint. And color. It's a process that you learn.
So you can take a picture. She will not charge you for this.
Trick. Benjamin Moore paints make great colors. You can get those paint colors at other locations. Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, their quality of paint is they're both good and they have each other's formulas.
Yeah.
Home Depot has a base color that is not the same. So if you go take that color to Home Depot or someplace else, it won't come out exactly the same.
And I think Kelly Moore is in there as well.
Yes.
So Kelly Moore's closer to me, so that's what I use.
Picket
but
fence,
all of these are great.
Picket fence is one of my favorite. It brings the brown and the gray together on your walls. So if you have a hardwood floor that's more brown, but you want to bring in more gray, it's a wonderful, kind of brings everything in. Revere pewter, I have that in my house. Chantilly lace, accessible beige, alabaster white, and for most trim and exterior and interior, we're still using Swiss coffee.
And I think everybody has their own version of Swiss coffee.
Yeah, they do. Everyone has their own version of Swiss coffee.
And then these are some of the hot, so now you want to maybe be a little current. So like
you want to do an accent wall or your cabinets or something. This is Sherwin-Williams color of 2022, and it's called.
And you're liking this.
Evergreen Fog. I love it. It's great, and a lot of this is bringing in some comfort. This is everyone's colors. Now, see, Evergreen Fog there looks way grayer, so you never know. You gotta
get a swatch.
You gotta put it on your wall.
Yeah.
You gotta put it on your wall. And then October Mist is Benjamin Moore's color, and it even looks greener when you look at the sample.
Yeah. And then this is another one.
This is the color from last year. It's called Urban Bronze. It is an amazing color. I would never do a whole wall like this, a whole room like this, but this is a client we did, and she had maple cabinets, didn't want to change the granite on the countertops, so we painted the island in Urban Bronze and the cabinets around it in white.
And this is something, like normally Bill and I don't budget for professionals painting. It's a lot of work, but this is something you can do. Like especially in a bathroom, there's great YouTube videos. So painting your cabinets is not as horrifying, but if you can get a professional, that's obviously
And if you ask
ideal.
the paint stores, they'll give you the right paint to use in which room.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so we're jumping. Oh, okay, good. So we'll actually be able to do some Q&A. So a couple of things in case you want to connect with Nancy. She's great, like if you want to email her a question or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then also she wanted to make sure that you could go home and either by yourself or with your girlfriends have a little checklist of certain things. And so we made up a little checklist. And so these are just little things to try to like keep the overwhelm from getting to be too much. So it's a little checklist that you can do. And if there's any typos, it's on me, not Nancy. She's way too meticulous for that.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, does anybody have any questions? All right, we have a couple of mics, and then we can probably do you think we can, where's Sue? Could we do maybe 5 minutes or less of questions? Okay, because we want to make sure you have plenty of time for your small group.
Hi. So my question is for storage, shoes and Legos.
Oh, okay.
No matter how many baskets, containers I buy, I still have piles of shoes in front of all of my doors and Legos all over the bedroom floors.
Okay. The Legos, bin, and like tubs, and you probably all have that. IKEA has some great rack systems you can take the shelf, the whole bin out, take it, throw the stuff in, and then throw it back in. Part of it is, making it a fun game to clean it up or whatever, but containing those, a full plastic bin is probably the best way for the Lego.
And like an open one sometimes. I know for my kids, like we went to open bins where they could throw.
Yes, and if you want to stack them or something, then you can just put the lid on them. But having those is probably the best way. Shoes is never ending. It's just like the Legos. But a couple clients, we've turned if you don't have an actual mudroom that you're walking into from your house, a closet that is like a coat closet that everywhere in the Midwest or in the East Coast, you have all these coats. We don't have all those coats. So use that area, turn it into, even take the door off, paint the inside, put hooks, make it your little dump zone, your little shoe, backpack, jacket, dump zone. Leave the door on it if you want to. We've taken the door off, and when the door comes off, the kids tend to use it more. And then other than that, I think just having the shoe racks. There is a shoe rack that I got for a client that it's great because it has drawers on the top, a little charging station, and then shelves for the shoes. And they have it at the front of their hallway. So it's kind of like on the way back to the bedrooms. And that's where the kids put their shoes. And then they put their phones there at night too. Yeah. And if you want that, I can let you know where we got that. I got it, I think, through Wayfair or Amazon. Yeah. So anything like you have questions, if you're going to order something on Wayfair or Amazon or something, feel free to shoot me the link to it and say, what do you think? Because some things are really good. Some things I would totally steer away from. There's certain manufacturers on those that are good and bad.
Yeah, you've helped me.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes like because we had 3 kids and we had cleats and shoes and sometimes I just had a laundry basket and I found a pretty laundry basket and it was just like kick them in there because the problem is when they want something then it's like out and all over the floor. So just have like pretty storage that's convenient.
And I think depending on where you're going to put it, I could help you look at different ways to where it's going to be and where the function needs to be.
Yeah. Anybody else? Only one question? Yeah. And there's no dumb questions, so you could like pick away. You got an expert here.
Oh, we'll come back to you.
And we had somebody in the front. Okay.
Me first?
Yeah.
I think she's coming around. Yeah. No, I think she's coming around for you.
Well, you don't have to.
I'm just wondering, how do you keep yourself or suggest to a client, like, from not wanting to redo everything every 5 years? Like, I'm finding that, like,
great question.
How do I buy stuff now that I'm not going to feel like, oh, I want to replace that because now I see that, like, this is the new trend. Like, I don't want to be in this cycle for the rest of my life where I feel like, oh, now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. I want to be... Maybe this might be more of a psychological question.
No. But hey, you know what? I'm relating with you right now. And I can relate, especially as with littles, going to Target or going to Home Goods is a treat. when you say, oh, I had to go get diapers, you're going to go for a couple hours and go to Target and pick up a Starbucks and walk around. And it's like, oh my God, my husband would be like, yeah, you're going to Target. That's like, a mom needs a little escape. And you walk around, you're like, oh my gosh, look at this magnolia area and all these beautiful things. And oh, I want to change this out and this out. And I went through a lot of years of collecting a lot of stuff and spending a lot of money on things that you'd go, oh, I'd bring it home and I'd be like, well, okay, what can I go buy next? Because this really didn't do it for me. And I think some of it comes with, I'm not going to say wisdom or age, but experience or whatever, just easier. Realizing that. And I think that now the pandemic has kind of made us realize that a little bit less is more. And there's our style trends that actually focus around the less is more, and what you have, make it a quality thing and make it something that makes you feel good. But to want to change trends, look at ways you can change, get into what is in the next trend without breaking the bank, which means a pillowcase cover. I can send you the Amazon link. Karen has it, that they make beautiful velvet pillowcase covers. You can go to West Elm and pay $100 for the whole pillow with the pillow insert and everything. Or you can, I think it's like $10 or something, or you can go to IKEA and get pillow covers. So things like that, look at what you can change. It's important to have like your sofa, your big pieces be your quality.
And kind of timeless,
bones.
Right?
Yeah, timeless. Yeah. So but you know, I can relate because it feels good to go out and buy some new things and to get out. And especially when you're running around with the kids and stuff like that so much, fixing little things like that in your home is what you think is.
But I think it's hard. Like one thing I can relate is all my furniture is kind of upholstered or like leather, and now like I'm sitting in these thinking. And I said to Nancy, I'd really love to swap out those white chairs in my living room and get this. And it's expensive though; it's just not in the budget for us. And so it's hard, and I can't make those white chairs look like this. But what Nancy's helped me do is look at what I like about this vibe. It's so clean and architectural. And so, like, for instance, maybe I would do, like, more of a graphic pillow, which could make, like, what I have kind of vibe more with, like, the current trend. And then, like, figure out, like, you'll figure out your style, too. Like, some people are naturally, like, mid-century mod or more upholstered. But it is, like, learning to just go, okay, well, you know, we can't afford to buy all new, but I'm gonna do some of my accents, or maybe invest in a new table and leave like the bones alone, or change out a rug.
And the other, so like I wanted to change out my sofa, and of course I wasn't going to, so I got these pillows to replace the back cushions. So the cushions that come with the sofa that weren't comfortable, like the little throw pillows, and the bones of our sofa, I love them. They were worth the money to spend. But this just adds a little bit brings in the color of the green for nowadays, for the colors now. But I could probably change the pillowcase cover out for this because it zips off, and I can put the insert. It has a little zipper, so try to buy pillows that have zippers. But even if they don't, you can still put a pillowcase over it, a different color one. And the other thing I was going to say is, keep an eye out if you're looking at bigger pieces at Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor,
the consignment store.
The consignment store down here in Danville often has model home come in and they put it on the floor. So they'll have basically brand new furniture and accessories that they're selling there from model homes. But shop around. The other thing I do is I've told my girlfriends, and Karen, I do this all the time. I'm tired of this thing. I take a picture of it. Does anyone want it? Does anyone want to change up? Yeah. And then I've given things to people that we've swapped, and it's like, hey, you know that thing I gave you?
Yeah,
I kind of need it back for this one event or whatever. Like, okay, great, I have it. And, so it's great to have friends like that, or people that you can swap with, your sister, your brother, whatever, your mom, anything like that you can swap around things.
Yeah, and it definitely gets easier over time. Like, I understand, because it is psychological. And that's where, like we were saying in the beginning, like just looking at the stuff you don't love and go, I'm really grateful for that. So, well, I wish we could take a ton more questions, but I want you guys to have some time in your group. And so if you have a hot question that you didn't get a chance to ask, will you be able to stay
Yeah,
till 11?
I'll stay around.
Okay.
And then I'm also really, I'm not that great on my Facebook, my Instagram. My New Year's resolution is to update them both more often, so I might do a total dump and then of all stuff. But email me, text me. If you text me, just say your name and where it was from, and, I heard you here, whatever, and I'm happy to help. And for bigger projects, let me know. I can
Awesome.
work with you on that.
All right, well, thanks, Nancy.
You're welcome.
And then Kyle, can you jump us over to the discussion questions? So we only gave you 2 today because we just want you guys to have time to chat amongst your group. So that was fun.